Western feminists are largely silent after Greta Thunberg was sexually assaulted and tortured by the state of Israel. According to Greta, her comrades, and as well as Ben Gvir and many Israeli officials, Greta Thunberg was subject to harsh physical torture and sexually abused by Israeli forces after being kidnapped from international waters. Not only did the Israeli forces harshly beat her, but they also stripped her naked and then took selfies with her. Israel is such a sick, twisted, barbaric, pro-rape society. The fact that Western feminists are silent about this and still support the state of Israel shows that feminism is a complete fraudulent ideology. If Israel is willing to treat Greta Thunberg like this, one of the most well-recognized activists in the world, imagine what Israel does to Palestinians on a daily basis. Where is the government of Sweden on this? Greta is one of the most famous Swedes in the world. Meanwhile, they are completely silent about how Israel treated their own citizens. Isn't it terrifying and infuriating that the governments of the West don't give a single fuck about their people, and they are definitely loyal to their genocidal apartheid colony in the Middle East? The fact that many Western governments haven't retaliated or even said anything about the state of Israel torturing and kidnapping their own citizens is exactly why we need a global intifada, a mass uprising against our corrupt, Zionist-owned ruling class.
And don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the Bernie Sanders style, the DSA style, the old gray-haired leftists who spent their entire life trying to shift the Democratic Party to the left. And after spending decades, a lot of these people trying to run and organize within the Democratic Party, what did they get? Did they get Medicare for all? Did we get an increased minimum wage? Did we get paid maternity leave? You know what we got? We got a genocide. It's unscientific. We got them exactly where we want them, my friends. Because we look at the voters who didn't support Kamala Harris, who voted for Joe Biden. You know, a large amount of them refused to vote for Kamala Harris because she was supportive of a genocide. When have we ever seen the American people making voting decisions based on foreign policy? That is how much the American people are done with the Zionist presence in our country.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, welcome back. Welcome to Nick at Primetime. Man, I was breaking down why this rally is not worth the left time. This is a pro-war rally so the Democratic Party can get your information. Have you guys ever been to a protest where people had to sign up and give their information away to these organizers? Like, it was a Democratic fundraising event. It was a glorified pep rally, a pro-war pep rally, and it was more cringe than you could ever possibly imagine. Like, this is how the liberal class plans to defeat fascism. Trump is shaking in his boots. All right, let me turn this off. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that music or whatever. But this is a pro-war pep rally. Any protest that you have that is not centered on class issues or have clear demands is a deeply unserious. You can't even call it a protest. I'm about to say deeply unserious protest. It was a parade. It was a parade where a lot of them was calling for more Ukraine funding. And you had the DSA, PSL, and these Democrat orbit fake socialists coming out in supporting this pro-war imperialist party. Fam, entryism is a failed strategy. It's a completely failed strategy. These people only care about issues once a Republican's in charge. They're going to sleep a second that a Democrat wins. It's a pro-war rally with no demands that doesn't lead anywhere. But you want to know what irritates me? And this is why I find many of the left organizations who supported this to be extremely shady. Because the same people who canceled me, who got upset, and who are frustrated because I talked to the ACP, because I'm willing to support anti-war rallies, even if they have libertarians there. Like the Rage Against the War Machine rally was an anti-war rally, even though it had some right-wingers there. And there was DSA and PSL that was like, we will never support that, because don't you know MAGA supports this rally? And my point was, who cares? It's an anti-war rally. So these people don't want to attend an anti-war rally with nonpartisans, but they want to organize and join this pro-war, pro-genocide rally? What does it say about them? This is the protest that the DSA, PSL, and all the fake leftists signed up for. What does it say about them that never in a million years would these people in the DSA, in the progressive left, ever organize with RBN? Where was PSL? Where was DSA when we was passing out food and clothes with the Hampton family? Where are they supporting Boston Mutual Aid? Where are they supporting Orlando RBN? We hold events all the time, and these people are nowhere to be found. But then the second that a Democrat organized some shit, they are quick to jump on that. Do you people not understand why I view this as shady? It will be one thing, and I'm actually not mad at the people who are like, man, I want to go to any protest. I'll go to any protest. I'm just down to be on the streets. I want to talk to people. I want to organize. I wouldn't mind those people at all. You know what bothers me? These people only organize on the basis with the Democratic Party. These are the same people, and I'm looking directly at the DSA. They refused to support Force to Vote because they didn't want to align with Jimmy Dore. They said, oh, Jimmy Dore is a horrible person. We can't support Force to Vote. We can't support all these policies because they're supported by awful people. We can't support an ACP. Don't you know that they're connected with Jackson Hinkle? So you guys see how they have a completely hypocritical stance on behalf of the ruling class? Because when it comes to ordinary activists, ordinary leftists, anti-imperialists, they have these strict guidelines, and they engage in liberal cancel culture on ordinary people. Like if you look at the DSA style people, the Bernie Sanders style leftists, the people that are to my right, but they call themselves socialists, they want nothing to do with RBN. So you cancel RBN, but you want to organize with Hillary Clinton and Bill Kristol and genocidal Democrats who ban Palestinians from speaking? So you're attending a pro-war and a pro-racist rally, but you draw the line with ever organizing with RBN and ACP. Do you guys understand how these people are classist to the core? And why social democrats exist to enable imperialism? Like Hassan Piker, he smeared RBN. He attacks the ACP all the time. He hates our guts, fam. He hates everyone who associates with RBN. He thinks you're scum who's not even worth talking to. He thinks I'm not even worth talking to. No, I want no clout to you, no platform to you. No, they have like a no clout rule. You're not getting clout off me. That's legitimately what they say. No clout off me, man. I know we got to disagree on no clout off me, man. I know I went after you first. But they will never, ever have a conversation with RBN, ACP, or ordinary working class people outside the Democratic Party, but they show up to a pro-war rally filled with genocidal Zionists? This is the question I asked Rokana. This is the question I've been asking the progressive movement for years now. If you wouldn't organize with a transphobe, like many of them claim, I asked Rokana, will you ever support or vote for someone if there was an open transphobe, if they hated trans people, if they was anti-gay? Whenever you ask them that question, they always say, no, there's no way in hell I will ever vote or organize with someone who's an anti-gay bigot. But if you ask them a question, will you ever organize with a genocidal Zionist? They're quick to join brunch with them. Why is that? Why are we the only people who do class analysis over these things? Why is RBN? Why am I blacklisted? Why do they refuse to support Rome in his library? Why do we refuse to support RBN Mutual Aid? But whenever a Democrat does anything, these activists say how high. That, I think, exposed a lot about them and their class loyalty. In this rally, they was openly admitting that the only reason why they even in the streets and they care about these issues at all is because they lost the election. The entire point of this rally was to get people to sign up and donate to the Democratic Party and help them win the midterms. So if you are a DSA and PSL, and I was shocked to see PSL support this, why are you legitimizing a capitalist, racist, imperialist fundraising event? What? And if you're one of the people, once again, let's hold two thoughts at once. If you're one of the people who down to join any protest, that's okay. But that is not what these people was doing. Have you ever seen these? Because a lot of these DSA and PSL people, they say, well, we go to this protest because we're trying to reach the ordinary person. Okay, why don't you ever go to a MAGA rally then? When was the last time you see PSA and PSL go to a MAGA rally to win over Trump supporters? Remember when I went on Jake Shill's show and everyone in the DSA left canceled me? And they said, how dare you go on Jake Shill podcast? How dare you legitimize talking to the right? Have you seen the young Republican group chat? Every single Republican is Jake Shields. So unless you are showing up at MAGA rallies, you have to explain, why do you show up at No Kings? Because honestly, I tell you guys, I'm more focused on working outside the duopoly and picking off the 68 million Americans who didn't vote for either party. That's my personal strategy. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't even bother going to No Kings. I don't care about going MAGA protests. There are millions of Americans who are ready to build a third party, and there are going to be people who follow the pendulum as their party disappoint them no matter what. And we build and we do our organizing via mutual aid. So if you go to this event, quick question, guys, who was helped? Who was helped during this No Kings event? Did anyone get any food? Any temporary relief from this capitalist structure? Not at all. Because I'm not saying that we're starting a revolution at RBN Mutual Aid, but at least I got people some diapers. At least we feeding people. At the Hampton family, we passed out countless winter clothes, jackets, school supplies. Ask Ron, we had it all there. We had people driving by, picking up supplies, and we was educating and we was explaining why we're here and why we have organized outside the capitalist system to build our own governments in order to take care of ourselves. Build a true revolutionary movement. You see how we reach people from outside the capitalist structure? And now we're not just having a parade. We're not just having a fun time at a parade. We're actually meeting people material interest. Not this bullshit meant to delegitimize real direct action. This is a great point for my friend. Big shout out to Just a Thought. I like her account a lot. This psyop is to mass shame, brutalize, and arrest Americans who actually have demands. So if you actually have demands, and if you're a threat to power, you're going to be arrested like Chairman Amali. You'll be arrested like the pro-Palestinian protesters, the anti-genocide protesters, the people who are demanding that their colleges and their universities divest from Israel, the people who've been protesting the cop cities, the people who protested police brutality and then was a victim of police brutality. So this is deeply psychotic what they're doing, and this is a great point by my friend here. Big shout out to them. Because by liberals and all these people saying, oh, we come out here peacefully, we coming out here looking like fucking furries, dancing in animal costumes. This is to delegitimize real fucking protests, guys. And DSA, PSL with no fucking analysis is going along right with it. Yeah, we gotta be cheerful. We gotta have joy. We gotta be happy. This is the toxic positivity that is rampant in the Bernie Sanders movement, and why they accomplished nothing. The labor movement got their wins beating the shit out of capitalists in the streets. This is meant to promote and brainwash the masses to thinking that dressing like a fucking furry is how you achieve gains in this capitalist structure. So then if you don't do this, if you actually protest Cop City, if you protest the Zionist state, then the ruling class got permission to go after your ass because the liberals say, oh, these are the bad people. This is the bad tactics to use to protest. Boy, I'm just getting started, my friend. This is, to me, every single left organization I saw that supported this without supporting, who didn't support the Rage Against the War Machine rally, the people who didn't support Force to Vote, you have been completely exposed as a Democratic op. Because what you did is you led your people and you granted legitimacy to the American people to this fake ass protest where Democrats are taking money and taking people email and expanding their email list. It's a fucking campaign event. Here, George Conway, diehard Zionist conservative. They are literally telling you guys that this is all about elections. This is all about electoralism. That if Democrats was in charge, Israel would still be committing a genocide, and people like George Conway and liberals will be back at brunch. Not only will they be back at brunch, they will do what they did during the Biden genocide. They will say stuff like, well, technically, don't you know Israel is not legally committing a genocide? Because right now you got a lot of truth tellers, because it's easy to be a truth teller when you're in the opposition party. But the second that Democrats take power, they go from opposition to lawyers. They become lawyers on behalf of the regime. Don't you know that Obama had the authority to launch drone strikes? Technically, what he did wasn't illegal. That's what they do. And you still haven't noticed the pattern? You still haven't noticed the pattern. Technically, ICE is a legal entity. Joe Biden deported more people than Donald Trump. Barack Obama is a deporter in chief. You want to know why? How is Donald Trump's version more preferable or less preferable? Donald Trump, you guys know that there's less border crossings under Donald Trump. The reason why there's less border crossing is because the United States government is being more honest to the global South. This is why the Democratic Party is the most effective evil, because they lie to the people of the global South in order to expand the DHS prison industrial complex. They want children in cages. They want people in prison. So they tell and they project this image that we are for immigration. We want everyone to come to America because America is the land of opportunity. Then when they get here, they put your fucking children in cages and they deport your ass. So how is that better than what Trump does, liberals? Now I would challenge anyone on this. How is that better? Isn't it better that Trump and the right tells the truth? And they say, hey guys, don't come to the United States because if you come to the United States, we're going to fuck you up. You can disagree with that politically. But isn't that more humane than what the liberal class does? That's why Barack Obama is the deporter in chief. This is why Joe Biden deported more people than Trump, because their immigration policy is inherently more cruel. They tell people to come, and then once they do come, they deport them. That's worse than what the Republicans do. I think all of it is it's horrible. I'm a freedom of movement kind of guy. But at least the Republicans are up front, and that's why there are less border crossings. That's why, despite Trump having the intentions of deporting more people than Barack Obama, he is not able to because he's the less effective evil. Like our late great Glenn Ford said, the Democratic Party is the most effective evil, which is why the No Kings rally really irks me, because they are protesting the expansion of the executive branch that they approved of. It was Barack Obama that made it legal for the United States to hold American citizens in detention without due process. It was Joe Biden who expanded the DHS and fundraised ICE to record levels. It was the Democratic Party who failed to abolish ICE. Now they crime out ICE now. So we don't have a king. That's why this fucking protest is stupid. And this is the anti-intellectualism of the American liberalism. We have no king. The system that we are living under is capitalism. This is the failure of capitalism. You see how they always fucking obfuscate shit? We don't have a king. We have a Republican-controlled Congress. We have a Republican-controlled Supreme Court, and we have a Republican in control of the executive branch. So Donald Trump is not doing anything different than any Democratic president. He has the control of Congress. You children. And Mike Johnson supports the Trump agenda. That's why Donald Trump is able to get stuff done. So for people to Trump is trying to act like a king. No, he's not. This is how our failed system works. You children. And Democrats could easily be this quote-unquote king when they control all the government, but they choose not to do anything for the working class, but expand the power of the executive, the state violence and authoritarianism that the government gets away with. But with that said, I think this is a good time to switch, because I'm gonna break down. I'm just getting started, believe it or not, bro. I had a lot to say about this protest. We're 20 minutes in. I'm just spitting a little theory here. We got a lot to cover. This is gonna be one hell of a stream, solo stream. Big shout out to my friend Zoya's Love, Zoya's Life, who knows that they gave RBN channels, all these bullshit strikes. And if you get too many strikes, they essentially take your channel off the algorithm. That's why we are decentralizing from the main RBN YouTube page. Make sure you guys support Savvy Sav, JB, and my personal channel. That's where my full streams will be at. So thank you guys for watching on the RBN YouTube page. I'm going to end the stream. We're also live on Rumble, Twitch, X, and my personal YouTube page. So if you're on the RBN YouTube page, I'm going to end the stream on there.